Hi friends, Maria Toso here, talking as always about how to heal your emotional triggers because they are what ruins your relationships, what makes it hard to be a human, what makes it hard to get along with people at work. It kind of shows up everywhere. I mean, it can be as simple as driving home and having someone cut you off and then cut you off again, and then you're already reacting inside and have a hard time letting that go. And then you come home and you feel tense, and then maybe you snap at your person, or you need a cocktail to calm that down. So it can be anything from very small infractions in your life to, divorce, leaving a job, breaking up a friendship. And when we get triggered, I've said this many times, but it bears repeating because we can start to witness ourselves if we have these tools. So when you get triggered, what do? Most people do one of three things. Most people either lash out, try to fix the other person, do it differently so I don't have to feel this way. And very rarely can the other person receive it, because when we are already in a triggered state and then we go to town trying to get somebody else to do something differently, they're rarely going to be receptive to that energy, because that energy feels coercive and controlling, and they're being made to feel responsible for your inner state. The second out, not necessarily in that order, but another common out, let's say it that way, is to numb out, to eat something, drink something, smoke something, buy something, watch something, anything to take the attention off of the triggered feeling in the body. And, we all do some of that. But if we have consistent triggers that are never being addressed, and we always address it, so to speak, with a numbing agent, that numbing agent might not hurt you in your, 20s. They could, if it's, some serious use of alcohol or drugs or what have you. But over time, over decades of using something consistently to not feel, the body usually will start to really show that it's suffering. And not only is the physiology suffering when we indulge in numbing agents of different kinds, but what's unaddressed will continue to get worse. And why does it get worse? Well, every time we react, whether we react outwardly by lashing out or numbing out, or the third one is checking out, where we just kind of cut ourselves off from feeling the body and we go cold, we're in our heads and we come from the ego, we're not really connecting with ourselves or the other. Every single time we do one of these outs, the trigger that is an original wound that has sort of encapsulated itself and gotten tense and tight, and therefore kind of spews and fends for itself and tries to protect itself. Every time we do an out, it's almost like that contraction around it gets worse. So the triggers tend to get worse over time as well. And for a while, most of us will try to, find a different husband or partner, and find a different job, find a different girlfriend, and find other people and other situations or other towns or states or countries, in the hope that we won't have to feel what is so uncomfortable. And when we get to a certain age, it becomes clear, if not to ourselves and to others watching us and to us watching others, that there is a pattern that is repeating and that is not really changing. It might be that the outer actors are changing, their faces look different, but in reality, they're again a stand-in for the original wound. And sooner or later, we have to take a new route, and it's really the opposite of out. It's into the energy field of the body, into the pain, into the place in the body that is showing us very clearly where this is living in us. And with great empathy and presence, we can start to heal that place. And that is, really the opposite of reactivity. It's vulnerability. And initially, we might do that with a therapist. We might learn to do it then on our own. At some point, we have to offer up that skill in relationship. So the two people who are both triggered, and that's kind of what happens, that we find that person that co-trigger us, and that our reactivity will cause them to want to numb out or shut down, or vice versa, that they kind of exacerbate each other very often. And in that state, that can only get worse, and most often it leads to either kind of estrangement within a dynamic or family setting, or just, leaving altogether. When we learn to go in, like I said, that's even a 3-step process. I think first we have to learn to do it for ourselves, because that can be a really new thing, to go into something that hurts with love, and not with impatience, but with patience, right? Love is gentle, love is kind, and love is doesn't end, right? It's unconditional, so that we learn to really be with ourselves. I'm feeling this. It's coming up here. I'm not going to lash out at this other person. No, I'm not going to eat the ice cream or have the cocktail. And I'm not going to go in and get into my story about this. I'm going to stay right here with me. And that's huge. And then you stop kind of creating more karma with the people around you. And you do start to heal here. And that you may need some help. I'm a Heal What Hurts coach, so that's what I do. Some people can do it on their own as well. But eventually you want to take that into the relationship, into the dynamic, whether it's your romantic relationship, which is where these things show up most often, but certainly also between family members and colleagues, neighbors, what have you, parents and children. So at some point you become so confident and so self-loving that you're able to drop into the body in the moment. And when you're about to have a discussion or something is up, the point of reference from which you talk is the body. I can feel like I'm not at ease right now. There's something going on. And then rather than kind of running through the mind looking for things that the other person did that may be why you're upset, the body. So you drop into the body and feel where it's at, what's really going on here. And in a very, name it, my stomach is contracting right now, or I feel it, the tightness across my chest, or, the lump in my throat, or my tummy hurts. Usually it's kind of somewhere along those lines. I mean, it can be somewhere else in the body as well, but very typically it's somewhere in the torso. I would say throat down through pelvis. And then stay with that for a moment. And of course, over time you develop language, you develop a relationship with yourself where you start to kind of penetrate the defenses and the density that we all kind of pack around the places that are hurt. And then we're able to say, it's my heart. And if I'm honest, that text you sent yesterday, or the one you didn't respond to, I kind of felt fear when that happened, and I'm still processing that. And I think what I'm making it mean is that you don't care, for example, right? At that point, the other person is not being put on the spot, or being, they might feel a little bit like they have to defend why they didn't respond to the text, or why they sent the text, or whatever. But more often than not, if you keep it here in yourself, I get scared. I get scared that you don't really care. And then I get scared that I'm being crazy here, that I think that, then I feel shame around even having those feelings, and I don't know if I'm supposed to process those on my own, or if I'm even allowed to tell you this. And if you approach it that way, it's very likely that your partner will say, no, tell me more. How does that feel? I want to be there for you. So try that. Try the route of vulnerability. First alone, get good at talking to your body, and then over time, try to deliver it from that place within. And if you need help, you need a coach, contact me. I will coach you on how to do this. Yeah?